In this clip, we're going to learn how to use the send and receive effects. So let's go ahead and create a new group under the master. And I'm going to call this reverb group or reverb effect group. How about that? And let's make sure we spell that correctly. There we go. And what I would like to do is I would like to add an effect to this. Let's go ahead and go to the inspector and add effect here. It's the exact same as hitting add down here at the bottom. So here we're actually going to receive any effects from any of these other groups. So what I need to do at this point is I would need to go to my ambience group and I would need to add an effect, and in this case it's going to be send. Now you'll notice that we're hitting this send and we have to associate a receiver. In this case, if we click the drop down box, we would see that we have reverb effect group receive, and you can see that right here. Now once we've associated that, we need to tell it what it's going to send over. In this case, we're going to go to reverb effect, and I'm going to add an effect, and we're going to place the sound effects reverb here. So I could also select the sound effects reverb, and let's do something like, well, let's go ahead and just remove it. So I'm going to right click on it and remove it. Let's go ahead and try to match those values that we had before. So I'm just going to try to bring these up a little bit. I'm not going to get too caught up in the overall sound here. So now I have this attenuation, I have the receive, and then the sound effects reverb. Remember that the order matters on this. And so with this reverb effect, we're going to have our attenuation and the volume is going to be controlled there. Then we have the receive, and what this is doing is it's waiting for any other group to send its information over to this group, and then we will run any effects or run that through any effects that are applied on this group. So basically what we're doing is we're just transferring the sound effects reverb effect from the ambience group over to here. This is really important if we had multiple groups with the same effect, like the sound effects reverb. So I could essentially perhaps make the sound effects group the same sort of thing. So I could add an effect, and I would say send, and then I would tell it to send it to the reverb effect group, and then any sound that comes through this is then pumped through here. So let's go ahead and take a look at what this sounds like. So if I hit play, you're going to listen to this and you won't hear any reverb right now. And the reason for that is because we're not actually sending any of that audio over to the reverb effect. Now, if I were to select the group, let's say the sound effects group here, or let's do the ambience first. If I were to select it, you'll see the send level value. Go ahead and increase that, and you'll notice that that begins to pump through the reverb effect here. Now, if I were to bypass, or excuse me, solo the reverb group, you'll notice that we're not able to hear what is happening there. And so the reason for that is because it doesn't actually have any audio coming into it except from the ambience group. And so if we turn off the ambience group, nothing is going to come into here. So let's go ahead and mute the sound effects group and even the music group. Let's mute this reverb effect. And we're not really hearing a whole lot on that reverb. So let's go ahead and make sure that we can pump this value up. Now we're starting to hear some of that reverb in there. And actually, let's take this receive and put it above. Now we're starting to hear that pump through. And then we could bring our sound effects back for our torches. And then if we started to adjust the send level here, we'll now get that reverb on the torches as well. Let's go ahead and adjust the sound level. And now we have the torches just by themselves, no reverb. Now you might be asking, why would anyone want to use this? What is the purpose? This is really good if we have something that needs to be changed programmably. So let's say, for example, that whenever you are in, let's say, a particular zone. So let's say that we had some sort of trigger in this area, and we had that forest ambience playing. It would make sense that the reverb would be pretty great in here because of all of this stone surfaces. But let's say that we get into an area that is actually in the forest. Then we could take that reverb effect and we could begin to draw that down and actually get the purest form of that forest ambience audio. And that's all being done right here inside of these mixers. Now that we have an understanding of how to use audio at a basic functionality in Unity, I would highly recommend going to Unity Audio Fundamentals. In this course, you'll be able to learn everything there is to know about audio in a practical sense. So you can begin to create footsteps, you can begin to create sounds whenever you're walking through triggers, and really get an idea of how to create beautiful soundscapes in Unity.